Scrappy friends. Welcome to my channel and welcome to another episode of working our way through the Creative Memories 110 Scrapbooking Ideas and Sketchbook. So I started this series, it actually was one of the first series I started on my channel back in, I think it was January, maybe February, but anyway, and we've been working our way through the different sketches in the sketchbook. So ever since I started this series, I get asked several times where you can get this book, where you can purchase this book, etc. Unfortunately, Creative Memories has only ever put this book out as a promotional item. So that means that you had to do something in order to get the book. So you had to purchase a certain amount of product and then this came free. Or you had to sign up to be an advisor and then this was in your welcome kit. As I was prepping for this video this morning, Creative Memories announced that they are bringing out a second volume of this book. So I was extremely excited. Now, it's not sketches, it's just a border book. So here it is on the screen. They are calling it 110 Scrapbooking Border Ideas and Sketches. So I don't have this book yet because it's actually not quite out yet. It will become available on October 31st. But my assumption is that it's going to be the sketches that go along with how to make the borders. In fact, the ones right there on the cover of the book, I have already done 2 of those borders, one here on YouTube and the other over on my Facebook page. So the promotion to earn this book starts on Monday, October 31st at noon Central Time. And it's only going to be available for 1 week. So between Monday and Friday. So Monday the 31st through Friday at noon, November 4th. So it's only going to be available this short time. So how do you earn this book? You need to go over to the Creative Memories website, and I'll have my information linked below if you want to use my my advisor link, and I would really appreciate that. But I understand if you have another advisor, you can use them as well. So go over to the link, and you'll need to spend $75 in order to get this book for free. But you also get, along with this book, you get these 5 birthday borders as well. So Creative Memories is celebrating their birthday, so it's very exciting. And this is the gift that they're giving out. Spend $75, you'll get the 110 Scrapbooking Border Ideas and Sketchbook, as well as those 5 beautiful laser cut borders. In addition to my walking through this 110 scrapbooking ideas, I also would love to get that book and start another series where we create the borders, do the same type of idea. I'll go through the book, choose different borders to create or recreate, and then what I would like to do is then turn around and use that border on a layout right away. Because here's my theory with borders. We make these borders, they're beautiful, they're fun. Sometimes we make them when we're maybe in a creative slump and we don't want to actually scrapbook, or we don't want to pull out all of our supplies for scrapbooking, or we need to print photos. So as a substitute to scrapbooking, we make borders. And I love making borders, but my problem with the borders is I file them away and sometimes I don't get back to them. I have borders that I have had for several years and I haven't used them. So my idea would be to take the book, use the sketch, create the border, and then let's use the border on a page layout. And that's going to be my twist on the book. But I probably won't start that series until the first of the year. Maybe that's the way we'll kick off the new year, is we'll start looking into that book and diving into it, because I have other plans for November and December. With the holidays and everything, I think it would just be a fresh new start to the new year. So I really hope that you take a moment to go over there, look at the Creative Memory site. There's also a ton of other things being launched on the 31st, a new winter collection. There's some new tools that are being introduced as well. They're bringing back a new circle and square punch, which is just awesome. If you're like me, you have the really old Creative Memories punches and they still work like a charm. So I'm very excited to see that they are still bringing out tools that I feel are going to be classics. In 20 years from now, we'll probably be using those exact tools. So one more thing that I want to mention about both books, both this Scrapbooking Ideas book and the Scrapbooking Border Ideas book. Most of the examples in the book can be found on the Creative Memories blog. So these are not brand new ideas. They are pretty much, for the most part, I think I found one or two so far that are not on the blog, or maybe I just didn't find it easily. So the nice part about this book is that we have it all in one place. We can pack this book, take it to a crop, and have, well, 110 ideas right there ready for us to scrap. So that's the beauty of the book, but the ideas can be found on the blog. And I just wanted to mention that because I don't want anyone to think that these are brand new ideas that are coming out. That's enough on that promotion. Let's jump into what we're actually going to do today, which is to look at a sketch in the book and recreate it. Okay, so today I'm going to move over to page 11, and it's going to be this sketch right here. In fact, I'll go ahead and put that on the screen for you, along with the inspiration layout that they showed us. So what do we have in this sketch? It's a frame style foundation. So there is a blue piece as the very outmost part of the background is a blue piece of pattern paper. Then they have, it looks like maybe white cardstock, or it could be another piece of pattern paper as the second layer of our background. And then of course the large circle, which is probably about a 10.5-inch circle right in the middle. And then what I really love, because we were just talking about borders, the bottom piece is a border. Now, this could be 2 strips of paper, like they show in the inspiration piece. They use 2 strips of paper and a couple border strips to create the border. It could be a pre-made border that we bring in from our other book, right? We were just talking about that. We make these pre-made borders. Here's where we can use one of those. So that just represents it's some kind of border down at the bottom. Okay, so we have 2 pieces of paper for the background, the large circle, which could be a solid cardstock or a pattern paper. So essentially we need 3 pieces of paper. If you look at the inspiration, they used 3 different pieces of pattern paper to mat the photos. And so that would be a great use of scraps if you had them. But again, you can mat with solid cardstock, pattern paper, or don't mat at all. So what am I going to do today? Well, when it comes to this large circle here, we were just talking about how you can use pattern paper, cardstock, but you'll see in our inspiration, they drew lines. They used the circle cutter. They put a pen in it and they drew lines, which I think is perfect for their layout because they wanted it to look kind of like a solar system. But I'm not using the Out of This World pack. I'm not going to create any kind of space layout today. So I'm not going to follow the inspiration and use a pen. I am going to follow the sketch and use a paper circle up there. Okay, so let's look at my paper choices for my layout today. I'm going to use this Super Duper Boy pack. I love this pack. I haven't really used it all that much, but I love the bright, bold colors of it. And what I'm going to scrapbook today are some photos of my son when he was in a Taekwondo tournament. So when he was earning his black belt, he had to do a couple of tournaments. And so this is one of them. And just like any sport, it's a very high energy type of atmosphere. So I right away knew I was going to use this Super Duper Boy pack because of the bright, colorful, energetic pattern papers that are in here. So my idea is to use this dark blue piece as part of my frame style foundation. I'll bring in a light blue piece to kind of, tone down that energy just a tad. So that'll be my second layer of my frame style foundation. And then for the circle, I will be bringing in this blue asterisk type paper. So that's going to be my main background. Okay. Then as I create my border at the bottom, I want to still bring in some of the high energy of this paper pack. So I'll probably be bringing in some of the orange and probably the turquoise and possibly the yellow. So this is just a beautiful color combination that they have in here. And they did add some black in here as a neutral. Okay, so let's put this aside for now and just focus on the 3 pieces that I'm going to use for my background sheet. So I will be recreating the first page to look similar to our sketch. Then I will be creating a second corresponding page to go with it. Okay, so first thing is our frame style foundation, right? Let's make our background. And I love this pack of paper, so I do want to gut the inside of this paper. As you see, we only need about a 1/2 inch showing through. So I'm going to go ahead and gut this out. And if you don't know what that means, I'm just going to take out the center of this and save that paper for a future layout. And I do have a video on that. I will link it at the very end of this video if you want to see it, or you can go into my basics playlist. You'll see it in there. Now, this can be done 2 ways. I'm going to just cut out a simple square because I want to use the 3 different papers, but you could cut your circle out of this piece too if you wanted to use the other side. I felt like this one was a bit more energy than I wanted for this particular layout. If I would have cut the circle out and flipped it around, then I felt like that's going to distract from my photo. So I wanted something a little more calm in that center. I've done that in another layout recently. If you saw my Christmas layout where I did that, as I took the center out and flipped it. You can go check my Christmas playlist if you want to see how I did that. That's pretty fun. And I actually did think about that for this, but I changed my mind. I'm going to mark this at the 1 inch line and cut a frame all the way around. Okay, I'm going to put you on fast forward while I do that. Okay, so we're saving this one for a future layout. And next we need to bring in our light blue cardstock, and we're going to trim that one down to an 11.5 by 11.5 inch square. So a 1/2 inch off of 2 sides will do our trick. Okay, I like that so far. Let's go ahead and bring in our jumbo custom cutting template. Okay, I want to use this to create the big circle that's going to go on my layout. So when I'm deciding how big do I want that circle, I bring in the cutting guide. This comes free when you purchase the jumbo circle, and it tells you which blade you're using, and it'll show you an outline of where that'll cut. So when I put this on the paper, I could see right away I don't want the biggest one because it's going to go off the side of my pattern paper. So I kind of want a smaller one, and this would you'd have to decide how big you want on your layout. I want a smaller circle on this. I don't want the circle so big it takes up my whole page. So I'm going to use the inner part. So this circle in the center here is using the middle part of the jumbo template. Okay, so I want to use the middle part, and I'm probably going to use the red because it's going to cut closest to the template. Okay, let me move this aside, bring in my pattern paper. So you can either do this exactly in the center of your paper, which would be great. You can use what's left over as a background, just like we did with the blue paper over here. You can cover that up. Or if you wanted to save paper, since we know we're going to use the inside, and I want to use red, which cuts the closest to the template, you can conserve some paper and bring it all the way to the sides and to the bottom, and it's only going to cut to about here, which would leave you this strip and this strip over here. So you have a choice with that. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use it down here in the bottom so that that'll leave me with about a 2.5 to 3 inch strip here and here. And I think for me, that's going to be a better scrap to have on hand than to be kind of forced to use this paper as a background piece. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this cut. Okay, there we go. There's our circle, and I'll clean this all up later, but I'll just trim off this little piece, and that will be moved on to a future layout Okay, and here's our layout so far. Okay, so let's put this aside and let's create our border. I'm going to bring in these two pieces of paper from the collection. Okay, so the orange will be the same as the orange in our inspiration. So it will be a 1 3/4 inch strip. And then what they did in the inspiration is they brought in a striped piece of paper and they cut that about a 1/4 inch bigger. So I'm actually going to do two things here. So first I'm going to do a half an inch because I want a little bit of room for tucking. Okay, but I'm going to do something a little bit different. Now what they have in the inspiration is they use some border strips that had a bunch of stars on it. I love that. That would be very appropriate for my Taekwondo. I tend to use a lot of stars. I don't have a lot of Taekwondo specific embellishments to use, so I do tend to use a lot of stars. So I do wish I had those border stickers because I would use them here. So I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to put as the top, I will have a 1/4 inch of this turquoise showing out the top. But for the bottom portion, so I'm going to bring in my flag banner punch. To me, the banner punches represents sporting events, parties, anything where you would have like parades, where you'd have a banner floating in the air. At the Taekwondo tournament, there was lots of banners and posters to read and stuff like that around the environment. So I thought this would be a great addition. I love the fact that it happens to have a star right in the middle. So for me, this was a win-win. I'm hoping. Let's go ahead and cut this, a 12-inch strip of this out. It's a normal border punch. You line it up to the black lines in the front. Make sure it's always flushed in the back. And then move it along the border tray and line it up with a pattern on the opposite end. Okay. Oh, there are some really cute stars that punch out, so let's keep those aside. We might want to incorporate those into our layout somewhere else. And let's bring everything back in. Okay, so this is what I'm thinking. Put the turquoise behind the orange at the top. I'm going to have it run the whole length of the 12 by 12, and then I'm going to have my banner piece hanging right off the bottom. The great thing about a border in this type of sketch is this is where you can put your theme elements. Right now in the inspiration, they put their planets all around, but since I'm not doing an outer space, then I think that the border is where I want to put my elements for that represent my theme. I hope that made sense. Okay, so there's my primary page. I'm going to tuck the circle in right underneath my border. Okay, then I am going to pick out 3 photos just like they have. That's a bigger one that I don't want to cut. This one I can cut. Now they used for the third one up here, they used a matte card from the matte pack. I don't have that. That would be another place where you want to maybe bring in some of your theme. But I want to actually bring in a third photo. So I'll probably do something like that, but trim it down. I think I like this one of my son's just waiting his turn. I can trim this one a little bit down, or I can leave it full size, but I'm probably going to trim off some of that. Okay, and then the rest of the photos will be on the second page, which we'll talk about here shortly. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in some mats. I'm probably going to bring in some patterned paper for mats. I'll be using this orange as a mat. I'll be bringing in some of this yellow as a mat as well, and probably some more of the blue. So let me pause the camera. I'm going to get all my paper adhered down. I will get my pictures trimmed down, decide on the mats for each one. Then when I come back, we'll work on how am I going to enhance this border, and then we'll also get the second page laid out as well. Okay, so hold on, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back and I have all the paper adhered down. I have the photos matted and I went ahead and adhered them down as well because I felt like you already knew my plan. I laid them out very closely to our sketch I overlapped these two instead of these two. I just felt like that was a little bit better flow for my layout. Okay, and then I also went ahead and trimmed down the remaining 6 photos that I have for the second page to, I cut these into a 3 3/4 inch square. Okay, and I went ahead and adhered the border pieces down here so far, and I love this banner, the use of this banner down here. And I actually flipped the paper over, so I use let me bring it in. I was originally going to use this brick side where it looks like little bricks, but when I went to put the adhesive on, I realized this one just popped this side popped just a little bit more. So I went ahead and used that instead, and I'm loving that. Now to finish off the border, I'm going to bring in a few of my vintage Creative Memories border strips and stickers. Okay, so I have this wavy strip and I like that. I like this yellow strip. I think they go good. I'm not going to use the purple. I'm just focusing on the blue. Then I also have this yellow with the colorful stars, which I absolutely love. So we're going to kind of recreate it a little bit similar to what they did. And I'm going to pull off the yellow stars because I love that. Like I was saying earlier, the stars to me really represents Taekwondo. Okay, so let me put that aside and pull off the blue zigzag. I have several different shades of blue going on here, so even though this isn't an exact match, it's going to be perfect. It's going to be just what I need. Just want to add a little pizzazz down there. I'm just trying to decide if I want the yellow one to go underneath or on top or on bottom. So I think what I'm going to do is I like the placement of the blue. Then I'll put this yellow strip right on top. It's about 1/4 of an inch down from the top of the orange. And there we go. Easy peasy. Okay, so for now, that's going to be our first page. I'm liking it so far. Okay, so let me bring in the photos. I have 6 of them and I trimmed them at, like I said, 3 3/4 inches. Okay, I think what I'm going to do for this is go ahead and bring in another light blue piece of cardstock for the base to our background. And then I'm going to just be playing with these photos for a moment until I get them all arranged how I like them. Then what I want to do is I want to bring in some of the colors that I used over on this page. So that's how I'm going to tie it in so we know that it's all from the same event. So I'm going to bring in this orange piece to go right there and kind of be the mat to my photos. So I don't want my photos quite hanging off into the blue. So I think what I'll do is I'll bring in some more of this turquoise from the base, from the border on the other page, and just trim off enough so that my photos are matted. Okay, so actually it's going to look like that. And then what I want to do is, let's line that up so you can see what I'm doing. Coming off over here, I want to bring in this blue. I want to do another banner punch using the blue over here. So I don't have quite a 12-inch piece, so I will have to mend those together. Okay, so let's see what that's going to look like. Let's go ahead and punch the border. Bring back in our flag banner punch. Okay, I do want to save the stars in case we want to use those later. trim off our banner. Okay, let's see what we think. So it'll look like that. I'll have it just hanging off the turquoise paper. I'll line these up so they match. Okay, and let me go ahead and bring this back in. Okay, so it's going to look like that, and I will straighten all that out when I go to adhere it. Okay, so let me pause one more time. I will get this page adhered down. You see how this page, what came together so much more quickly, because now it's basically what I like to call, this is my photo dump. This is the rest of all my photos. This was my pretty fancy page. Now I'm just putting the rest of the photos over here. I just want to kind of coordinate the page by using the same colors, and I even brought in some of the same elements. Okay, so let me get that adhered down and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I have all my photos adhered down. I have the paper adhered down. I attach that border over here, just trimming it ever so slightly. Right here, you can kind of see the line where that's mended together right there, but it's not so bad. Okay, so we're ready to embellish and get this page done. So the first things I like to do are to find a place to put my title and my journaling. So right away, I know my title is going to go up here because I have a lot of room up here. And then I will also probably do some minor embellishing there. And then my journaling, I want to bring right over here. And in fact, it's going to give me opportunity to cover up my little seam right there. And then I maybe do some embellishing right there as well. Now I feel like with my border is kind of a little whimsical and kind of attracts your attention between using the banner punch on both sides. I don't feel like I have to do a lot of embellishing, so that's what I'm just going to do, a little bit of embellishing right around those two areas. Okay, so let's start with the title, since that's going to be a little bit easier one to do. I'm going to bring in this title I found in my stash, and it says, "Do your thing." I think that it's the right color for, I wanted to bring in some more orange up there. So I love that it happens to be orange. And I just love that it says "do your thing," because that's what we were doing that day. We're just letting him do his thing and get through the process of working toward his black belt. So that's going to be my title, as simple as that is. And then I have all these cute little stars that I'm going to just bring in, a few of them, and decorate around it. Easy peasy. And I also have some stars on this sheet, and I'll bring in the colors that match our layout. So we'll bring in some yellow, and I'm just going to place some stars here. Okay, so let's see. I need one more, I think. So I think that's all I'm going to do as far as embellishing. Maybe I want another yellow one. Let's see here. Really liking the blue. Scoot that one down. The blue really kind of catches your eye. Okay, there we go. Those 5, just like that. So nothing too fancy, very simple. I feel like there's a lot going on already on this page. I'm going to have, the title is kind of big and bulky, so I just want a few little highlights. Okay, so let me scoot this one off to the side for a moment and bring in this page. So we're going to do our journaling here, but what I also wanted to bring in was some of the yellow, and I want to use the same strip that we used in our border over here and bring that to this page. So what I was thinking is to lay it right on top of the flag banner punch. And so I'm just doing it so that it kind of covers up the waviness of how the banner was cut. And that way it ties in the yellow from over here as well. Okay, so now for my journaling spot. I'm going to bring in my custom cutting circle again. And I'm going to bring in some lined Creative Memories lined paper, this blue asterisk paper that we used, and a piece of the yellow which we used for matting this photo right over here. And I'm going to create circles. So I'm just going to do a layered effect. I'm going to start with yellow, and then I'll do the blue asterisk paper, and then I'll do the white journaling paper on the top, so that's where I can do my journaling. So red cuts closest to the template, so that's going to be my outer ring, my outer layer. Okay, and we might even tuck it a little under the photo. Let's see what we have. Okay, there's that one, and then the blue asterisk. Green is the middle size blade, so it would come next. And it'll go just like that. And then the lined paper with our smallest blade, which will be the blue one. Okay, and then we'll have, it'll look like that. So we created our own journaling area by just using the same pattern paper we've used over here. Again, another way to bring our elements across. So I'll attach that there. I think I slid it up to an area where it's not affecting the photos. I thought at first I would tuck it under, but I like it better like that. There's some areas here that aren't too important, and then this one kind of gets a little out of focus. So, and it is also covering up my mending where I mended together the two punch outs from the flag banner punch. Okay, and then I'm going to just bring in some more stars. Let's see, get some more blue ones. I had another yellow over here. There we go. Let's do one more. And I think, yeah. There we go. I like it. I just sprinkled the stars right in there. And that is all the embellishing I'm going to do on this one. I'm going to keep this embellishing very simple because I feel like I used the pattern paper that I used for the page layout and for matting. I think that is really adding to my story, so I don't feel I need a lot of embellishments. And as I mentioned before, Taekwondo embellishments are hard to come by. I do have some in my stash, but I like using the stars that came out of my punch, so perfect. So there you go. That's our page to represent page 11 in our 110 scrapbooking ideas and sketchbooks. I hope that you enjoyed it, and if you did, I would really appreciate a thumbs up. That really would help me spread my content further on YouTube, and I would like to say thank you to everybody who does that for me. I really do appreciate every time that you do that. So that's it. Until next time, take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.